Great, great. So welcome everyone, and thanks for joining this session for the APAC Marketplace Deep Dive. So my name's Abby, and I'm a Partner Development Manager for independent software vendors based in New Zealand and part of the wider Asia Pacific team. So today we have our headquarters engineering team here with Herman and Patrick, who will be presenting to us on the value proposition of the marketplace, as well as some considerations from an ISV perspective. Does anyone have any general questions at the moment, just logistical questions? Otherwise, we'll get started. No? Okay, cool. Looks good. So,
being recorded?
Sorry, yes, I have just started recording the session. So at the moment, because of the security around Teams, it will only be available internally to Microsoft, but we'll find a way to share that with everyone as well. Unless anyone has objections or you prepared to ask some very, very specific questions that you don't want to be recorded, then please let us know and maybe we'll pause the recording or figure it out and trim it out. Great. So again, welcome all. So the session today we have mostly ISVs, but I do want to point out that also listening in are some of our CSP partners. So these are our cloud solution partners who we're working with hand in hand to support our independent software vendors in growing and accelerating. So the audience here today is a combination of independent software vendors as well as some cloud solution partners, but with the focus on ISVs. So just before I hand over to Herman, I'll just point out if you have any questions, feel free to ask on the chat window. You can access the chat window by just hovering over the screen, and you should be able to see a couple controls down the bottom, including mute and unmute, as well as a little chat window button, which will allow you to access the chat. And you feel free to ask your questions there or send them to your Microsoft contact, your partner development managers, as well if you need any escalations or you have further context you need to provide or any specific details that you didn't want to share in the call. You can do that as well. Microsoft folks on the call, I'll reach out after this call to collate anything as well, and we can work through any questions after the call also, but feel free to use the chat window. Also, depending on the speaker as well, feel free to interrupt and ask your questions when there is a pause in the speaker's speech. Otherwise, we will try to answer all questions on the chat, and if we don't go through every single question, we'll make sure to follow up with it afterwards as well. Great, so well, without much further ado, I'll hand over to Herman. Sorry, did someone jump off mute? Was there a question? No. Sorry, if you're not muted, could I just ask you to mute yourself as well, if that's okay? Great. Well, without much further ado, I'll hand over to Herman, who's calling in from Redmond, and it's actually quite late in the evening for Herman, or at least it's after work hours for Herman. So thank you so much for having this presentation with our ISVs, and over to you, Herman.
Hi, Abby. Hi, everybody. Good morning, and hope you can hear me well, and hope you can also see my screen. Can you just confirm?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see your screen, and I can see the closed captioning as well.
Yeah, so I turned on closed captions just to make sure that it's easier for everybody, not only watching live, but also listening afterwards in case they need. So this material, I already uploaded a PDF file on the Teams application. So I hope you should be able to access the PDF file and download it. And if not, please make sure that you inform Abby about it so that Abby can get it cleared for you guys so you can download it. And I'm just toying here a little bit because I just realized that when they are overlaid on top of the slides, it doesn't look too good. I think this looks better and makes better use of the screen real estate. Anyhow, so this is a structure of what we want to do today with you. I have roughly not an hour and a half. I don't intend on speaking for an hour and a half. I intend on speaking an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. Then we have a break. And then Patrick comes after me and he will talk on the technical aspects. So I'm Herman. I'm a category manager within Azure Marketplace. I have a few jobs here, really. Well, my first job is to recruit net new partners to the ecosystem. So in this role, I actively look at the offerings that we have in our category. The category that I manage are databases and analytics and storage. So I am actively looking to recruit backup, database engines, analytic engines, ETL tools, data orchestration tools, data search tools, data lake tools. And I help ISVs understand how marketplace works, understand our value proposition, the business terms, the business conditions, and up to a point, I help them with some basic technical topics. In some situations, we require, or the ISVs require, integration, developing specific code software to talk to our billing APIs to take advantage of the advanced billing methods that we provide. And we have a principal engineer in our onboarding team. This principal engineer is Patrick. So Patrick can be thought of as the person who is behind the billing API and who is behind the SDK that we just launched last week on GitHub that allows ISVs to build SaaS, software as a service applications, and deploy them very quickly, very simply for Azure Marketplace. So Patrick is a technical expert. I am more on the business side, on the business value proposition. I'm not a PDM. I don't have the skills that Abby has. My skills are more on the storage side. Um, so this is how the afternoon looks like, and I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the overall structure of this presentation. So I have about 14 slides explaining what Marketplace is, what's the value proposition. I will try to pause and give you time to ask questions verbally if you want. From time to time, I will also do a screen switch here, like I'm doing right now, and see if you posted questions. So I can do that. Feel free to interrupt. It's not a big deal. Although I believe we have about more than 40 people. Last I looked, 47 people, but still manageable. So feel free to interrupt. Um, Sandeep is saying, I can see the screen, but I don't see any PDF file. So the PDF file is accessible via the Teams application, desktop application, Sandeep. And if you cannot see it, it's because you're looking at the full screen view of the Teams app. So anyhow, I have about 14 slides on Marketplace. Then I will spend a couple of slides talking about the publishing, pricing, packaging considerations, the publishing process, some of the more financial and payment details around Marketplace. And lastly, I will talk about Marketplace rewards. Once you download the PDF file, or if the file cannot be downloaded, once Abby and the PDM team sends it to you, you will also have a lot of detailed information, links, marketing benefits, links for training, links for things that you can research. I do have some screenshots. If we have time, I will go into those screenshots. And last but not least, on the business side, we talk about some of the programs that Microsoft has that become enabled once you sign up for Marketplace. There is a portion of the presentation that we will not cover, and that's like how you sign up for a publisher account. I believe that most of you already have that. The screenshots are also included. If you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out and we can offline talk about this. Beginning with slide 81, we go into the technical considerations, and that is the material that will be presented later by Patrick, and he will talk briefly about all the technical ways how you can deploy on Marketplace. So that's the plan for today, and I'll pause here to see if anybody has any questions on what I just said. I don't hear any questions, so I will move on. So marketplaces. So marketplaces are not a new thing. In fact, one person once said that marketplaces are as old as commerce themselves. What is new is e-commerce and digital marketplaces. Digital marketplaces are a very strong trend. We see almost 70% of business buyers saying that they would like to buy online, and they prefer to not interact with a human being when they're doing research, product research. And we see this trend increasing even in the consumer space, where today a lot of people research about, for example, if they're buying a car or if they're buying a house, they do a lot of research beforehand, where they want to live, what car they want to buy, what finance options they want to have. And some even go to the point of arriving at a car dealership with a spreadsheet telling the dealer exactly how they want to pay, how much per month, and all the terms and conditions. And of course, sometimes they are much better informed than the person selling the car. So they are a reality. In our world of enterprise customers, Microsoft sees amongst the top 200 customers that all but two transact via Azure Marketplace. That means 198 of the top 200 customers today buy on Azure Marketplace. Marketplace, some people think that it's made only for long tail and for small purchases, or for deploying a WordPress virtual machine on Azure. But in reality, we are seeing now multi-million-dollar transactions. And just recently, we had an 8-digit transaction, a value much larger than $10 million. In fact, it was multiple tens of millions of dollars from one customer transacted via Azure Marketplace. When talking to us, customers point to several benefits for using Marketplace. Benefits for discovery, benefits for research, benefits for software distribution and licensing, benefits for payments because they pay together with their Azure bill. They pay using the same terms and conditions and the same timing schedule, that payout schedule that they negotiated with Microsoft for their enterprise agreements. And they also see benefits from the point of view of deployment and integration, because Marketplace makes use of automation tools that we have created for Azure. The deployment, the configuration, and the opportunity for human error is reduced. So Marketplace is an accelerator for easy purchases, easy trial, easy research, easy deployment, and easy usage. We also notice that customers who use Marketplace, they consume much more ACR than customers that do not use Marketplace. So a Marketplace is a mechanism for us to ensure that customers are happy with Azure, are satisfied, achieve their business goals, and of course that they drive Azure consumption revenue on Azure. There are, via Marketplace, 3 ways to sell. The first way, the way how typically we think when you think of e-commerce is when you sell direct from 1 to millions of customers. That is certainly a method for sale via Marketplace. It works extremely well. This year, we are expecting to reach, the $500 million in billed sales, meaning licensed sales, sold through Azure Marketplace. And certainly Marketplace is helping both Microsoft first-party products as well as third-party products reach a very vast um, customer base. The second way when you as a publisher can sell through Marketplace is when you enable the CSP channel, and then you enable a cloud service provider to resell your product. I don't know how familiar all the ISVs are with the CSP program at Microsoft, but basically a cloud service provider, they buy on behalf of their customers and they resell not just a software license, but also services. And sometimes, in the case of the really large and sophisticated CSPs, they sell entire business processes. They do business process outsourcing, and they outsource, an entire, not just the IT department, but sometimes an entire business process like accounts receivable or human resources management to customers. So by enabling the CSP channel on Azure Marketplace, you literally are expanding your sales channel to include these CSPs. It's an option. You can enable none, enable all, or pick and choose which CSPs you want to enable. And it's one that allows our ISVs to reach the Microsoft ecosystem. Annually, we see about 500,000 partner opportunities driven through the cloud service provider. And the most sophisticated one-to-one or one-to-few customers method that we have to sell on Marketplace is enabled by one thing that we call a private offer. A private offer is a type of offer with specific pricing, terms and conditions that is made visible to only one customer. And private offers enable us to reach the large enterprise customers to tap into their purchase cycle, their procurement relationship with Microsoft, and simplify contracting, simplify the overall sales cycle, and in many cases, simplify the billing, the collection, and the invoicing. Remembering that when you do transaction via Microsoft Azure Marketplace, you are also using us to be your business operation, your back end for your sales. I will pause again because this is an interesting point and sometimes can drive questions from the audience. Sandeep says he has listed his solution on Marketplace about a year back, but not really seen any benefit or additional revenue. That's understandable, and I heard somebody on the microphone, so let me answer Sandeep's questions first. Marketplace is a channel, is a sales channel like any other sales channel. If you're a company based in the United States, you would not hire a salesperson in South Africa and send this person to South Africa with no training and no sales tools and no promotion and no demo software and nothing. You would not rely on that person by themselves to drive sales. And the reality is the same for Marketplace. Marketplace is a digital medium. And it requires digital promotion tools to promote your product. It requires digital advertising. It requires driving awareness and driving lead generation. And the same way you nurture a typical sales channel, you also need to nurture Marketplace. We recognize that perhaps in the past, Microsoft didn't have all the tools needed to promote products. And this year, one new thing that we did is we launched Marketplace Rewards, and I will talk about Marketplace Rewards towards the end of the presentation. So I will ask Sandeep to park this question until we get to Marketplace Rewards, where we will present how we can promote together with you your products and drive sales through Marketplace. And with that, I will let the person on the microphone to ask questions. Going one, going twice. Okay, moving forward. So this is our value chart. a little bit of history for people who don't know how we got to where we are today. In the past, Microsoft grew, of course, like many companies, grew organically. And in the past, we had a situation where for each different product line that you had with Microsoft, Windows, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Skype, there was a different mechanism for ISVs to publish plugins or extensions or drivers or software, and a different mechanism that sometimes was available, automated, sometimes it wasn't, to deploy um, that software or those extensions that were purchased. This caused a situation where 5 years ago, some publishers, especially the ones who had multiple offerings deploying onto multiple, integrating with multiple Microsoft products, they had to manage 10 different logins with 10 different portals. This, of course, was not optimal. And Microsoft embarked on a journey, on a project that is now in its fifth year. It's probably one of the largest software development projects that we have, and that will not result in a commercial product, but it results in a commercial infrastructure that everybody uses. And this product is called the Modern Commercial Marketplace. Some of us here call it Modern Marketplace or just Marketplace. So the Microsoft Modern Commercial Marketplace literally is the one point, the one catalog for all offerings, whether they were developed and published by Microsoft, we call these first party offers, or whether they are developed and published by our partners. It's an evolving tool. It started as a partner center. It started in a very simplistic way, just supporting the publications of listings, contact me listings. Then it gained more traction with the inclusion of software as a service. Today, it's the main tool for deploying SaaS applications. Today, it also is the main tool for deploying applications that get published onto Power BI. Um, in a couple of months, we're going to have the migration of all Dynamics 365 data objects as well as extensions also completed onto Azure Commercial Marketplace or the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace. And it's got two sides, right? It's got a side that's it's represented here in this image by the left side, the publisher interaction, and it's got a portal that's Partner Center. Partner Center now is the main portal for interacting with the Microsoft Partner Network, with the MPN program, and without the benefits of the MPN program. Partner Center is also the main tool for you to see benefits with Microsoft from the various programs that Microsoft publishes benefits for. It's the main tool for providing feedback, product enhancement requests, product feature requests to Microsoft, and it's also, of course, the tool for publishing on Azure Marketplace. Partner Center, last but not least, is replacing several partner tools, like, for example, the Partner Sales Connect, PSC. PSC is being migrated, is being deprecated, meaning that it's reached its end of life. And all the functionality that you used to use inside Partner Sales Connect is now being migrated to Partner Center. And that includes co-sell, deal registration, co-sell approval, and of course, understanding, visualizing your relationship with Microsoft. The benefits for partners, we believe, are like the simplification and having one single portal for all their relationships and all their interactions with Microsoft. So a lot of the things that we talk when we're talking about the marketplace side, we are talking about the entire marketplace. This one catalog with this engine that does MPN and that does co-sell and that does a software publication, that does CSP engagements, and even consulting partners and service partners are going to be interacting with Partner Center in the very near future. because a lot of these old portals are being migrated off and migrated towards Partner Center. The right side of this image shows the different ways how you can interact with commercial marketplace. So, and we call them experiences, right? One experience is the web and direct purchase experience. This experience can happen either via one of the portals or, in the case of Azure, inside the Azure interface itself. So when you are inside Azure and you deploy a new resource, you are literally interacting with this catalog and with the Azure Marketplace in the backend. Azure Marketplace, therefore, is the catalog for both first-party as well as third-party offerings that are deployable on Azure, right? The other two portals are AppSource and Azure Marketplace. AppSource is literally a landing page, a storefront um, that is geared to business buyers. So it talks a business language, and typically AppSource deploys either on Office or on Dynamics or Power BI or as a standalone web application. And a standalone web application where the user does not need to have any knowledge of Azure. In fact, the user a lot of times does not even know that the application is running on Azure and they're using it. The next portal that we have is the Azure Marketplace portal, and that's a portal that's geared towards IT developers and IT buyers, the technical buyers mostly. Finally, we have here the field. So Microsoft Field will interact with Azure Marketplace or with the commercial marketplace catalog via a new tool that is being rolled out in fiscal year 21 called Quote Center. Quote Center allows Microsoft sellers to include third-party software that has been published and that is eligible for co-sell, that's co-sell ready. And the benefit here is that you could have Microsoft sellers reselling your software. And this is one of the many ways how we are integrating ISVs into the ecosystem. Of course, it remains a question that my friend asked earlier. How do you promote that? How do you promote internally to Microsoft sellers? How do they know that your product is available? And that's the role that marketplace rewards play in this story, is the role of educating Microsoft internal sellers. We have over 70,000 internal sellers as well as partners. We have over 500,000 deals happening through partners annually. And of course, if they don't know your product exists and that can solve their issues or that can solve their customers' issues, they will not include it. So therefore, the need to do promotion, advertising, and use digital tools for that to reach the field, to reach sellers, to reach customers. Last but not least, resellers interact with the commercial marketplace via Partner Center. And this is a mechanism that allows them to buy on behalf of their customers, add their value-added services, and then resell as a completely integrated solution. I will pause again, and this time I will first let the microphone. Otherwise, I will go to the questions that I saw that there are some questions in the chat window.
Hey Herman, there was just a question earlier from Ashley just before I asked about, I posted a lot of stuff on the PDF, but in case it's missed, Ashley asks, are private offers only relevant for marketplace transact solutions?
Are private offers relevant for marketplace?
So are private offers only available, I guess, if you're transacting through the marketplace?
Thanks, Abby.
I don't know if I understood the question. Sorry, I lost my cursor. Something is funky here. I cannot.
I'm just asking for private offers, if those have to be for a marketplace transact solution, or if you can have a private offer on a list or say a trial solution.
Oh. I believe private offers only make sense in the transactable solution. What would you like to do?
I work with quite a few ISVs right now that aren't at the place of having marketplace transact offers, but they do have list and contact me offers. And I'm just wondering all the different avenues that we have to kind of access and promote those offers. So the idea of a private listing is quite interesting because some of their solutions are enterprise and very highly customized. But if we could do a private offer, that could work really well.
So the short answer is no, we do not have private listings today. You have to realize listings are free, and the idea behind the listing is to contact leads. So the idea when we created the listing was that we wanted to reach as broad an audience as needed as possible. If you want to reach a narrow audience, perhaps a digital marketplace is not the best tool. As a former marketing person myself, if I wanted to reach, a restricted audience, I would not use a landing page on the internet for that. And you should consider a listing on Marketplace as a landing page on the internet that resides inside Microsoft's portal. So for that reason, I don't think we ever conceived private listings, the concept of private listings. The conception for private offers came from a request from ISVs and customers that wanted to transact for a large value, for a large deal. And of course, this deal is restricted to only that customer. So that's where the concept for private offers came. However, it's an interesting thought, but one that it was not in scope when we specified marketplace. In the same token, we already have a mechanism for sharing a VM privately. If you need to share a VM privately with a customer, the mechanism is the Azure Image Gallery. On the Azure Image Gallery, you can specify the tenant ID or the subscriber ID of the customer with whom you want to share that VM, and you can do that already. So again, it's a little bit beyond the scope of Marketplace because Marketplace, the scope is mostly for transactions. Does this answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And I apologize because my computer decided to not let me scroll. Yeah, Patrick added here, private offers are only available for transact on SaaS, and you can do BOL for VM Azure apps. Yeah. So continuing. So transactable offers, they drive results. How big is the marketplace catalog today? So today we have over 15,000, almost 16,000 offers, of which about 10% are transactable. The number of transactable offers is growing very, very fast. When we began the fiscal year 6 months ago, we had less than 1,000. And our objective is to end the fiscal year, which ends in June, as you know, with 2,000 transactable offers. And we do see a very large opportunity for ISVs to publish on the catalog. And if you ask us, why would an ISV want to publish on the catalog, and transact via Microsoft and even pay an agency fee, a commission to Microsoft for selling their product? So the answer is access to co-sell deals, access to co-sell deals that help Microsoft salespeople be paid and help you sell your product. The second is access to the Marketplace Rewards program. That includes, as I said, promotion of your products. Today, we do promotions for transactable offers. We do not promote listings. We promote transactable offers. So if a partner has a transactable offer, chances that they already used the Marketplace Rewards are high. If any of you listening here has not yet used, has a transactable offer and has not yet used a Marketplace Rewards program, do let us know because we need to activate that for you. And last but not least is access to uh, Microsoft established procurement mechanisms, contracts, sales agreements that have been negotiated with customers, long ago. And these mechanisms, they facilitate, they reduce the barrier to entry for ISVs trying to negotiate, especially when you are dealing with very large enterprises with complicated purchasing mechanisms. You can benefit from Microsoft and reduce your sales cycle, your time to market, your time to closing a transaction with those partners, with those customers by transacting via Azure Marketplace. I will pause here, see if there is any question. See if there is any question on the window. Is Azure Marketplace and AppSource the same as Microsoft Commercial Marketplace? So AppSource and Azure Marketplace are just storefronts, basically the front end. Commercial Marketplace is this whole engine. And as time goes by, progresses, we are launching additional storefronts. So today there is the extensions that you will find on Teams or even inside Microsoft Office products. Those extensions will be replaced by Azure by commercial marketplace tools. So we will be enabling in-app purchases, for example, inside Office 365. The same for Dynamics. For Power BI, they are already available. And very soon, we believe that also the whole Microsoft Windows store, where you can buy the games and additional software, will also be replaced by Commercial Marketplace. Commercial Marketplace is a Microsoft-wide mechanism, not just for Azure. It goes beyond Azure. Talking a little bit more about the size of Azure Marketplace, the audience. Today we see about 2.5 million unique visitors coming to Marketplace, which is a very large volume of customers. And as Marketplace expands beyond just Azure and beyond the two storefronts, AppSource and Azure Marketplace, we expect to see very large growth in the volume of people visiting Marketplace. I already gave you the number of the 198 of the top 200 customers. And some characteristics, some things that we see. The first most important one is do treat Marketplace as an additional sales channel. Do not send that sales rep, to South Africa with just an airline ticket and no sales tools. Any remote salesperson needs tools to sell, and Marketplace is a tool that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be fed, just like a salesperson, just like any sales channel. You should leverage all the benefits we have, the go-to-market benefits that come with Marketplace rewards. You should provide content on the landing page that is not just compelling, but also clear, explicit, that makes it easy for customers to understand, evaluate, and buy your product. Campaigns are needed to generate demand. There are many ways you can run these campaigns. You can run these campaigns with Microsoft. As I said, once I will repeat, we do drive demand gen campaigns for partners that have transactable offers on Azure Marketplace. This is part of the Marketplace rewards motion. But even if you don't have a transactable offer, we do provide you with sales tools and sales collateral that can help you build your own campaign and run your own campaign. Leads need to be nurtured. Leads are like fresh milk. Have you ever left milk out of the refrigerator? It goes bad in like a couple of days. Same thing happens with a lead. If a customer visits your landing page, clicks on a contact me, and you wait 2 or 3 weeks to visit that customer digitally and nurture them and send them an email or call them or send them a white paper or invite them to a webinar, that customer will grow stale, just like milk. It will spoil, and that lead will lose its value. We have seen, and it's a fact, that the fastest response times are correlated to fast conversion rates. The faster you respond to a lead, the higher the probability that that lead will convert into a sale. Um, in the counter side to that argument is that you have to be careful with the marketplace CRM connection mechanism. We have seen lots of partners who have contact me pages, and the connection mechanism for their CRM is broken. The leads are going nowhere, and sometimes this could explain why leads are not being generated at all. And last but not least, marketplace rewards. I will pause here, see if there are any questions. This is a quiet audience, Abby. So as you may have seen, and I will skip this very quickly, there are 4 ways how you can be on marketplace. The first way is a listing. A listing is a landing page. The objective of a listing is generate leads. The objective of a listing is not to have a static page. The objective of the listing is that you keep the information there up to date, refreshed. A listing on marketplace opens to you the door to co-sell. It is a requirement for co-sell for a very simple reason. Co-sell requires a mechanism for us, the publishers, the ISVs, to communicate to the sellers what they're selling. How will they know what they're selling? How can they find the material, the collaterals, the presentations, customer-facing presentations, one sheets, brochures? It is ideally through marketplace. By having a listing, you enable customers to discover your product, you enable Microsoft sellers to understand your product, and you enable, of course, the whole co-sell mechanism to operate. Co-sell without marketplace is difficult to do, difficult to achieve, highly manual. And it's the opposite of what we want to achieve with co-sell. Marketplace is all about automating sales, automating marketing, automating promotion. So if you don't make good use of the listing, if you don't have lead management configured correctly, if your contact me page just has the product title, your email site, and perhaps a link to your page, that link will not generate anything. The quality of some of the listings that we have on marketplace, particularly the older listings that have been launched 2 or 3 years ago, needs to be constantly revisited and reevaluated and kept up to date, right? After all, we all like to show the best image to customers, and the first image, the first perception is the one that stays. So if you give customers a poor first experience, if the first 5 seconds that they spend on the landing page of your listing are not a visually pleasant, pretty, beautiful perception, the chances of that listing driving leads are very low. So please do invest in the graphic quality of the material that you publish on the listing. As I said, the co-sell mechanism is migrating to Partner Center. And that means that besides just putting the listing, once you list on Partner Center, that's also where you will be uploading all the co-sell artifacts, all the partner-facing, customer-facing, terms and conditions, brochures, white papers that help sellers sell your offering. A trial is another type of publishing option, and trials allow customers to test your software. In the past, trials were about giving customers a pre-configured environment where they could run a pre-configured environment where they could run a lab, a test on an environment that was preloaded with data, and where they could do, evaluate software. Trials migrating today to different mechanisms where we allow customers to download VMs and use them without paying for the software for 1 month or more. And so today there are some alternatives to the older mechanism of the trial with a preloaded, pre-configured environment with data and software. BYOL is the third option. BYOL allow ISVs to take advantage of the automation and automated deployment onto Azure for their offerings. And BYOL also allow us to do two very important things. One is certify your image and make sure that your image is compliant and therefore attest a stamp of quality to the images that you publish on Azure Marketplace. The second thing that we can do once you have a BYOL is we can track how much Azure consumption your VM or your Azure template is driving on Azure. We do that by appending to your VM image GUID, or if you are using an Azure template, you add a GUID to that Azure template, and every resource that you deploy within Azure using that BYOL offering gets automatically tracked. And this tracking mechanism enables us to attribute to you correctly all the influence that you had on Azure consumption. So it triggers additional financial and recognition benefits to partners and to their PDM. So BYO are very important for that. Since I mentioned the Azure Image Gallery, I should mention that when you deploy via the Azure Image Gallery, that's basically one of the things that are very difficult for us to track. The mechanism to sign, images with a GUID on Azure Image Gallery are not as easy to use as the ones that we have on the BYOL via Marketplace. And lastly is a Transact, right? Transact allows customers to download automatically the software that they want, that they need, without you ever being involved. We offer launch support, we offer the automation, the pre-configuration, the capability for you to create an intake form, get all the options from the customer. It minimizes support calls, it minimizes deployment, provisioning, integration issues. It simplifies the entire sales cycle. And when we see partners move from BYOL to Transact, we typically see the volume of business that they do with Microsoft multiply by a number that is between 3 and 5. So it's really compelling, it's really valuable, both for Microsoft and for our partners. I don't know why this thing said 300 and 500. It said 3 and 5. 3 and 5. Oh boy. Anyhow, next, any questions on this one? Oh, so Patrick is responding online. Thank you, Patrick. The app source page is not very mobile friendly. Any plans on its improvement? Mobile friendly, it is indeed a challenge. I will not comment on that because it is a challenge for usability and not every app is made for mobile. Certainly AppSource is not made for mobile. For consolidated customer billing, what is the process for back-end billing and tax between ISV and Microsoft? So I have a slide on payouts that I will talk about it later. What is the criteria for qualified offer? What is a qualified offer? Summary, what do you mean? What is a qualified offer?
In your slides, the transact, the below one where the qualified offer is transact to incentives for Microsoft is.
Okay. Qualified offers means co-sell ready. So if an offer is co-sell ready, so thank you very much. I didn't realize you were talking about the text on the bullet. If a SaaS or if a SaaS is mostly SaaS, it applies to VMs as well. So if they are SaaS, if they are co-sell ready, Microsoft pays the CSP a 10% commission when they sell a co-sell ready offer. Interesting to note that Microsoft charges the ISV a 20% fee for VMs and a 10% fee for software as a service offers if that reseller, if that ISV, sorry, has a co-sell. So in this sense, therefore, the 10% fee that we charge you, we pay directly to the CSP, therefore minimizing, your out-of-pocket investment. It's a promotion that Microsoft has for SaaS offers that are co-sell ready transacting to CSPs.
Could I ask a quick question on that?
That's the point of this call, yeah.
Wonderful. So for a solution to, my understanding is that for a solution to be co-sell ready or to have co-sell status, it needs to be 25,000 US or more. And does that hold true for Marketplace? So for an offer to qualify for that blue box that you have, it would have to be $25,000 or more and instantly deployable through the Marketplace?
That's not accurate.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so an offer for an offer to be co-sell ready, let me see if I have this slide on this presentation. I don't think I added that because there's a whole discussion on co-sell. But there are three requirements for IP co-sell. The first requirement is $100,000 in ACR on the trailing 12 months. So ACR is Azure Consumed Revenue. There are several ways how you can accumulate Azure Consumed Revenue or ACR. The first way is you consume it in your tenant. The second way is you influence ACR via the VMs that you deploy on Marketplace. And the other mechanisms are very manual and very complex, like the DPOR, the Digital Partner of Record, etc. So the easiest ways to achieve these $100,000 is via Marketplace. The second requirement for IP co-sell on Azure is you have to have a listing, or actually, you should have if you have a trial or a BYOL, it's automatic. If you have a listing, we have to add an additional step, which is needed in order to verify that that offer is deployed on Azure, because obviously we don't want to give co-sell credits for things that are deployed on other clouds or that are deployed on premises, because we are paying our sellers commission on that software that is co-sell ready. And yeah, and the third requirement is you have to have a gold competency. So there are three requirements to be co-sell ready: 100,000 ACR, gold, and trial or BYOL on Azure. And if it's not a trial or a BYOL, if it's a listing, we have to verify that that offer, that product is effectively deployed on Azure. Make sense?
That clarifies a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions on this? So with that, I'll just talk a little bit about the technical side, although Patrick is the expert on this, and I'll let Patrick go deeper into this. There are many ways how you can deploy VMs and containers and IoT and SaaS on via commercial marketplace. It's a matrix that's in constant evolution, right? So today, as of today, via marketplace, we can deploy VMs. We can deploy free VMs. I don't know why the free VM is not here. We can deploy BYOL, and we can deploy transactable VMs. When a virtual machine, a VM, transacts, it transacts exactly like the compute instance where it gets deployed. If you recall, Microsoft charges per hour per type of compute instance when you deploy a compute instance. So we do the same for virtual machine software. The software is built on a per hour per core basis, and that's the mechanism that we allow to transact VMs. Customers can also deploy multiple VMs via solutions templates or ARM templates, Azure Resource Manager templates. A template itself is free because the template itself does nothing, right? It does not consume compute. But a template typically deploys multiple VMs. And so the transactable component into an Azure template or an Azure app are the VMs that template deploys. And of course, the mechanism, therefore, is the same as if it were a VM, except that now you are billing for the multiple VMs. One important point to make here is I mentioned once at least on this call that we do a certification of anything that's a binary that we deploy. And the certification is done at the VM level. So if you deploy an Azure app or a solutions template, those VMs that are used inside that solutions template have to be deployed first on Azure, on commercial marketplace. They could be hidden so that customers don't deploy them by themselves and they do nothing and they end up with a charge that does nothing for them. So they can be hidden, but they have to be deployed, certified, even if they're hidden, before you deploy the solutions template. Just a little detail. Other things that we can deploy via commercial marketplace are containers, IoT modules. They can be deployed. Managed services can be deployed. There is a mechanism called the managed app, and I will let Patrick, the expert, talk about this as well. And there are other things that we can today. We are at the listing phase. So we are at the listing phase for consulting services. A SaaS listing is literally just a listing. So you won't find on Partner Center a button that says new offer, offer type listing. You will find new offer, offer type, software as a service. And then inside software as a service, you decide if that SaaS is billable by Microsoft or not billable. If it is billable by Microsoft, then you're talking about a full software as a service deployment. If it's not billable, it is a listing. It's as an idiosyncrasy, is the way how we did it. Continuing on, Office Dynamics today are listing. We also deploy trials. Some of them also deploy on app stores with a credit card purchase. And what's coming soon is the capability to charge not only via credit card, but also via the customer's invoice, monthly or quarterly invoice that the customer pays for Microsoft. And last but not least, of course, is all the Power BI, Power Apps. Today we have data sets that are deployable there. And you will see if you go into Marketplace, if you go into Partner Center, that the interface includes these components as well. One last caveat, Partner Center, I think I already mentioned, is a work in progress. Microsoft does weekly deployments to the Partner Center interface. That interface is constantly evolving, constantly changing. We are constantly adding new features and new functionalities to Partner Center. So my recommendation, if you have 2 monitors or a big wide monitor, always have, half of the screen on the Partner Center documentation and the other half of the screen on Partner Center itself, because you cannot assume that everything that that the dialogue this week is the same as it was there last week. It is a balancing act that we try to do, keeping the interface consistent on one end, but then on the other end, adding new functions, new features, new functionality requires us to do that. So I will pause again to see if there are any questions.
Yes, hi. This is John. I have a question.
Hi.
Hi. Regarding the table you just shown us, under the asterisk, the fine point right at the bottom of the slide, for SaaS app, Transact is via credit card only for Microsoft App Stores today, but will expand to enterprise agreement. So, what's my understanding is that because we recently published our app on all three platforms, on the App Stores, on the Azure Marketplace, and Azure Portal. So my understanding was that for customers who don't have credit cards and prefer customer company invoice, they would like to purchase it via Azure Marketplace and Azure Portal. So I just wanted to understand the statement here that it's only credit card only for this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So what this means is exactly what you just repeated. Transactions via Azure Marketplace. Don't forget that Azure Marketplace is the front end. So transactions that are made via this front end here, the Azure Marketplace front end, and the Azure Marketplace front end exists in two places: the Azure Marketplace landing page itself. That's one front end. So let me just go here and take a look at Azure Marketplace. So that's the Azure Marketplace front end. And we have pay as you go here. So if you transact here, these transactions, they get it now, the plans and pricing, and I have software costs here. This is a billable VM. It bills per hour. So you see it's at $1.11 per hour, $831 a month. That's the cost of these Barracuda CloudGen web application firewall for Azure. So this transaction, if you transact on Azure Marketplace, will be billed on the invoice or on the credit card if it's a credit card customer. AppSource is the other front end. And as I mentioned to you, it does not necessarily deploy on Azure Marketplace. AppSource could deploy, it could be a web app. So for example, I have this one here. It's a law toolbox. This is a SaaS application. It's a web app. This web app, if I deploy it, because it's on AppSource, it requires it to ask me for a credit card. This other one here, because it's on Azure Marketplace, it deploys to my, if I have an EA, it deploys to my EA and bills against my EA. We are in the process of migrating AppSource purchases to also bill via the EA, and this is coming soon. Did this answer your question?
Yes, it does. I just have, don't mind if I have two more points just to add. On Microsoft documentation online, there is an article to say how to purchase on Microsoft App Stores, but there is no documentation on how to purchase from Azure Marketplace. So it just gives, because our potential prospects and customers, they highlighted this as a concern to us that the documentation also only mentioned credit card, no company invoice. So just wondering whether the Microsoft documentation will be updated online to include purchases from Azure Marketplace. This is the first point. And then the second point is, as I shared just now, recently we launched our SaaS app on Azure, on the Marketplace and App Stores, but there was a bug. It's actually a transaction and chargeable app, but initial listing publishing was fine. But recently, last week, the pricing becomes free for SaaS app, whereas on the Azure Marketplace, our pricing still exists. So of course, we escalated this to Microsoft. So I'm just sharing these 2 points here so that maybe you can shed some light on this.
Yeah, so on this last point, I would have to look into it specifically what is your SaaS app, and I think it's a little bit out of the scope for the call. I would like to, if you don't have this solved, we need to make sure that you involve support and you open the ticket. I can't answer this question here. And yes, on the second point, can you transact via Azure Marketplace? Yes, you can. You can transact via Azure Marketplace. In fact, I'm showing you another one here. I picked F5, pay-as-you-go, big IP, virtual edition. We can transact via marketplace. This is the mechanism. If there is an error on the documentation, I would ask you if you could please send us the link to the specific page so that you can fix it. Or better than that, every page, especially on the documentation, on the publisher guide, it has a place for you to submit feedback. It's awesome when everybody submits feedback. So you submit feedback literally right here. It's like if the page is helpful or not. If you're logged in, of course, then you have the feedback button here. Send feedback about this page. So give us feedback on the documentation that's incorrect. Help us clarify it. We really appreciate everybody's help in that. Perhaps I should read some of the
Herman,
questions
we
here.
We have a couple questions from Roger, Sandeep, and Ara.
Okay, so 365-year transact. How soon will this happen? Well, I don't have this date exactly off the top of my head. Patrick, if you have this answer, I'm not sure if this is happening before June. So Microsoft has a semi-annual cycle of planning and software releases. So we release, that means we complete these cycles twice a year, right? The releases themselves, they happen every week. Every week we are releasing new stuff, new fixtures, new functionality. So when a particular feature comes live, like you're asking about Office or Dynamics, I don't know, but I can research and get back to you if you could give me more details. So for SaaS, transact means customer pays through Microsoft, correct? Only and not through the SaaS own billing. That's correct. That's exactly what transacting means. You transact on Microsoft paper. Abby, can you please help me with a question on this slide? When will soon happen? That is 365 for transact. So I don't have that date unless Patrick has that on the roadmap. But typically, we don't pre-announce these things with dates. Hi, John. I've already included Hermann escalation thread for the bug. So thank you, Sanya. Should be resolved soon. Thank you, Sanya. Yes, Sanya is already working with me on a few other bugs that we identified yesterday. No docs on how to purchase software on Azure Marketplace. So to purchase software on Azure Marketplace, you click a button, get it now. You give it consent. Then the automation takes over. It invokes Azure Portal, authenticates the user against Azure Active Directory, verifies that the user has a valid subscription ID. This is what's happening right here. Then it confirms what I'm trying to create. So there are pay-as-you-go, 1 gigabit, 5 gigabit, 10, 25, 200. So these are the different billing plans that this particular vendor has for their offer. I can either start with a preset configuration or click on create. If I click on create, then it takes me to this dialog where I can pick which resource group I want to deploy against, and give it a name for my VM. The name for the VM has to include, it's a resource name, so it's going to be a component of a URL, so that's why it cannot have spaces, and there's a bunch of rules there. The region, and once I am done and I configure all the things that I need to configure, and I click on create. So in this case here, it's failing the validation because it's asking me to give a few more details that I didn't give it. Then that's how I buy. I buy exactly the moment I click this create button. I hope this answered the question. If not, please do let me know. Commenting and threads is working in a very unusual way. Roger, do you care to, what is the question here? What more details are required in regard to your question? Yes, I prefer you take this offline. Roadmap topics are preferable that we take this offline. Let me see if I missed anything. What about Kubernetes-based solutions? We're unable to deploy one of our Kubernetes-based solutions on Azure Marketplace. That's correct. We were told that Marketplace doesn't support Kubernetes transactable deployments. We support Kubernetes, but not transactable deployments. Since there is no Marketplace Kubernetes repository, has this changed? So you can deploy containers, and the mechanism is indirect. You basically create an AKS repository on your account, you copy that to the public AKS repository, and then you give customer access to that image on the public Kubernetes repository. That is not the ideal solution. We agree with you. And Kubernetes is high in the list of priorities of things that Microsoft will be launching. Right now, the challenges around Kubernetes are around certification, security, and making sure that we have appropriate mechanisms, not just to certify and secure Kubernetes deployments, but also to meter the consumption of Azure resources deployed through those Kubernetes. So these are the challenges around containers in general that applies also to Kubernetes. Kubernetes are not on the next 6-month roadmap. So I would ask you if Kubernetes are a hot topic for you to please contact us offline, because there are some workarounds. You can deploy a VM that contains a Kubernetes inside a VM, or you can use what you call a hybrid billing method if that's what you're trying to do. So we need to understand what are you trying to do with the Kubernetes. And once we understand that, then we can help you. So Sandeep, if we could connect offline on what you're trying to do with Kubernetes, we can work with you on that. Could you mail the presentation deck? So Abby already submitted it. It's on the chat. If you are accessing, most of you are, of course, are accessing via the app because that's how you see the screen. Once this thing is over, if you are seeing my screen, you literally go here into perhaps the calendar, and you click on the session that you had today, and you click on files, and you see it's right there, the file, the PDF file with this complete content of this session today.
Hey everyone, Abby here. I know some of you are having trouble accessing the file because of, I think it's a Teams tenancy privacy issue that it doesn't allow sharing files from internal to Microsoft out to external parties, which is fine. I will send it out through email, and you will receive it from whether it's your partner development manager or your CSP or your point of contact. The person who sent you the invite to this call will share the recording links and the files as well. Just give me a couple hours after the call so I can get the recording uploaded onto a public link.
So I think I didn't miss any more questions. Okay. So back to the presentation. Last point, we do have a few partners that are transacting in the hundreds of millions of dollars with Azure Marketplace. And as I said to you, we already had an 8-figure transaction happening on Azure Marketplace as well. And some interesting things that are coming. One particular one that I can comment is the creation of what's called a private marketplace, which is the capability of a customer or a CSP to restrict what offerings will be visible to their customers or to their internal users. So this makes the capability to be on marketplace to deploy on marketplace, even more critical for a lot of us. And by the way, um, this chart, you can interpret this chart as a map to the category management team within Microsoft. So we have category managers allocated to each one of these areas. I have storage and data. A colleague of mine has networking and operating systems and security. DevOps is a third person. AI/ML is another person. Migration has a specific category manager, IoT, and in several vertical industries, healthcare, retail, manufacturing, and financial services software. We also have category managers. And this is very helpful because gives ISVs a specific point of contact, people who know not just about marketplace, but who also understand about the industry and the type of problems that we're trying to solve for that industry. Couple of case studies here. My favorite one, of course, is one of the data marketplace customers is a company called Matillion. Matillion has an ETL tool. Their tool does data migration. It extracts data from a number of databases. They have like 70. Yeah, now this thing read me right. 70 databases that they can extract data from, and that they can load data to a source, or sorry, to a destination data lake. Currently on Azure, they have Matillion ETL for Snowflake, and stay tuned for more software. The curious thing about Matillion is that Marketplace is a key component for their go-to-market strategy. Matillion has, even though they are, over $100 million in annual sales, they are based in the UK. Matillion has less than 10 people in their sales organization, and they manage sales through hubs distributed across the world, and most of their sales motions are via co-sell, via marketplace, via deployment on marketplace. Um, Marketplace allowed Matillion to accelerate deployment, sales, software integration, minimize support calls, and grow as a company, as an ISV, focus on software development. So they are one of the great and most interesting success stories that we have on Marketplace. Of course, we have others. So there are more resources. As I said, the partner community is a forum. You guys can get together there. You have access to lots of Microsoft internal people at the partner community. Most of us go visit the forum daily and respond questions there. You also have, of course, your PDM, the local PDMs that invited you to this call, and people like Abby, who is our champ for Marketplace for ANZ. We also have an insiders program. So if you want to receive even more emails from Microsoft, you are free to sign up. The warning is if you sign up, you'll receive even more emails from Microsoft, but these emails are specific to Azure Marketplace. There are also free resources, free Ignite sessions that you can watch that talk about Marketplace. And as I said earlier, there are specific links for opening bugs specific to Marketplace. I am going to skip this a little bit faster because I see that we have 5 minutes to go. But some considerations that you should make before going onto Marketplace is how do you price? How do you consume? How do you do business today? And how do you map the way how you do business today to Marketplace? Of course, there are constraints. VMs only bill per hour. The only method we have for billing flat rates with monthly or annual billing is for SaaS applications. So one consideration that we always have with customers is consider hybrid deployment, meaning you do a SaaS transaction, but you deploy a BYOL VM. So these are advanced topics that we are more than happy to work with you on an individual basis. The process is very simple. Join Marketplace either via this URL or via the MPN page when you enter into Partner Center. There are several tutorials there and the steps helping you do the 1, 2, 3. We recommend you first create a listing, next create a VM, and before you try to create a SaaS offer or a more complex type. And please reach out. Our team is staffed to help you with that. This slide here shows it repeats the billing mechanisms. SaaS is by far the most flexible billing mechanism we have, and we can combine a SaaS billing with a VM deployment. Advanced topic, reach out to us. The marketplace fee, the standard is a 20% agency fee. That's the commission standard that Microsoft charges. And it is reduced to 10% if you are deploying as a software as a service. And additionally, you are co-sell or you have one offering that is co-sell ready on your portfolio. So that requires you to be co-sell ready and to be eligible for co-sell. Patrick has a very interesting SDK that allows you to build a SaaS app very quickly to allow you to transact as a SaaS and therefore do this hybrid deployment. And I'm going to let Patrick touch on that point. And last point that I would touch, respecting your time, is the payout. How often does Microsoft pay you? So traditionally, we collect from customers either quarterly or monthly. The payout processing is done monthly, and Microsoft pays you 15 days after Microsoft collects. So yes, monthly customers pay us monthly. You receive monthly payments for monthly customers. Quarterly customers pay us quarterly, and you will receive the payout on the quarter 15 days after that bill expired. So this is a consideration that you have to make. And we do have some other specific cases that I would gladly take them offline. When you transact with Marketplace, you enter automatically into the rewards program. And the rewards program works basically like an airline mileage. Like you do with airlines, just watching the flights, you don't get miles. You have to fly the airline in order to get miles. So with Marketplace, you have to sell, transact, have built sales through Marketplace to collect your mileage. And that unlocks additional series of benefits that allow you to optimize the listings, do promotions, social promotions, press releases, partner success stories, do a webinar for Microsoft sellers, which is, like I said to you, a way to nurture the seller channel, a way to nurture the Microsoft reseller channel. And ultimately, as you bill, as you start transacting with Microsoft, you can do blog posts, we can do public announcements, and even have you on stage at one of our conferences. Unfortunately, we were supposed to be in Singapore today physically, and due to the coronavirus, Microsoft had to cancel that. But that, for example, we hope that we're sure you're going to have future opportunities for that, and I would love to have one of you on stage with us next time we are back in country, whether in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, India, wherever you guys are. With that, I will pause to see if there are any questions. You will have access to this slide, so you can read the material and you can access the links, and you will be able to revisit this topic. Pause for questions. No questions? I don't see any questions on the chat. Abby, are you okay?
Yeah, all good. I'm just following up with those who had questions that we would like to take offline. I think Eric from Blast Asia has a question around, would you be sharing some details on commercials?
So it's a question on percentile. What percentile, Aaron?
I believe, Arab, if you're able to come off mute, otherwise I am interpreting as the fees and commissions. Okay, so the fees will pay out through Marketplace. Yeah, the slide.
Oh, here is this slide. So for SaaS offers that have at least, so co-sell is an attribute of the offering. But for the effects of this promo, if an ISV has any offer that's cost already, it does not have to be the specific SaaS offer. Microsoft pays you 90% and retains 10%. This 10% goes towards paying the back office, right? We do incur costs. We do tax withholding. We do collections. We also have the whole business operations, the processing, and Microsoft determined that 10% would be the typical fee charged for transactions. This fee is in line with all other marketplaces, cloud marketplaces. So Microsoft is aligned with other cloud marketplaces on this fee. And if you have any questions on that, I'd rather talk to you directly, and we can connect one-on-one after this event. Reach out through the PDM, through the person that invited you to this, and we can talk. Yeah, it includes credit card processing, it includes invoices, it includes EA, etc. Yeah. So Abby, are we doing as yesterday? We have a 30-minute break and then we come back at 11 a.m.
Yeah, this sounds good. Just the last call for if anyone has any questions for Hermann. On the hour, we'll be starting with Patrick, who's our second presenter, presenting on a slightly more technical topic around how to listing different types of applications onto the marketplace, including the technicalities, as well as how you can scale your application into a scalable SaaS app. So if you have any questions on this current slide deck that's being presented and for Hermann, last call. Cool. Arab has another question on how to promote, etc. Is that something you wanted to discuss, Hermann, very quickly now, or should we take that offline?
No, I can give just a highlight on how to promote. So basically, there are, the main mechanism is digital, right? We promote digitally. We do digital advertising, and we try to promote customers via paid search, paid social, and of course, blog posts. Historically, the most effective mechanism for selling high cost items, especially software, is targeted advertising such as LinkedIn. LinkedIn is typically the best return for the money for products such as software. Other tools include targeted campaigns that you can use via, for example, tools like discover.org.com, of course, LinkedIn also, and of course, digital campaigns or digital marketing agencies. We do have a deep engagement program that we run every 3 months with all partners that started transacting with us, within that quarter. So the campaigns for Q1 are already in progress, and we are going to have another opportunity in Q2. So if you want to be considered for one of our deep engagement campaigns in Q2, these deep engagement campaigns are partially funded by Microsoft. Microsoft funds 50% and the partner funds 50%. And what Microsoft does is we hire a digital agency to work with you, to work on the messaging, to work on the digital promotion material, and to launch demand gen campaigns for your product. Of course, you can do that on your own as well. And once you log on to Partner Center, you will see a lot of downloadable marketing material, best practices guide for digital campaigns, and even prepackaged campaigns that we already have. We do not have a campaign in a box yet, but the material is simple enough that you could use it to build your own campaign. And additionally, as I said, even if you're a publisher, we have a partner toolkits, we have self-service tools, like I said, downloadable material, listing optimization. This is a service where an agency, a professional marketer, goes into your listing and gives you suggestions to how to optimize your listing to drive leads, to collect leads. So this is free for everybody. Again, how do you access that? It is via Partner Center. So one of the screen walkthroughs that is in the deck is how you access the Partner Center facility. Let me just go there very quickly. So as you log in, you have your performance, your listing, and it shows what types of listings you have. This particular publisher has BYOL, has trials, has SaaS, has transactable offers. They have everything. The benefits are accessed via these links over here. And of course, the entire Marketplace Rewards program is here. It is a program where you have to click on activate or request. So if you haven't yet done so, please visit your Partner Center account, go into the MPN benefits, and under benefits, you will find Marketplace Rewards. Of course, you have to be signed up for Marketplace in order to have Marketplace Rewards, and you have to be have at least a listing to Marketplace Rewards. And I think this covers it. Oh, Abby put a link there. Thank you, Abby. Okay. With that, I will give you guys, some 20 minutes to chill. And like Patrick says, get some coffee, tea, and get ready for the ride. That's the most interesting piece of the presentation, is the technical side. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Herman. Everyone that's on the call, I will pause the recording. So feel free to just stay on the call if you're on mute, and we'll start again on the top of the hour, which I believe is 4 p.m. if you're in New Zealand, 11 a.m. if you're in Asia. And so we'll start again on the hour, and I'll also post a note on the chat window when we do start. But otherwise, keep the questions coming. If you have any on the chat, I'll stay on the call, just on mute. Thanks,
Abby,
guys.
can I answer one last question?
Sure.
Yeah, so somebody asked, how do you get a listing on Marketplace? It was Himashi. How to get a listing? So it's right here. You literally sign into Partner Center, and inside Partner Center, you sign up to the Commercial Marketplace program. And in overview, you click on this button here that says New Offer. Simple as that, and the button walks you through the process. So there is a walkthrough for how to sign up. So basically, join Marketplace, enter your email. If you have an account, you sign in, enter your password, accept the terms and conditions, confirm your company information, the details that you have, accept the agreement, and boom, you're there. And then once you are there, you have dashboards, you have a tax profile, because of course, if you're transacting, we have to know how to pay you, where to collect taxes for you. If you're an American entity, if you're, in which country are you based, all those details, bank account, wire transfers, and you also access payout reportings and all kinds of reportings via Partner Center. So the slides are part of the slide deck, and I will leave them on the slide deck that everybody will download. And with that, I think I spoke too much. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Herman. Okay, guys. Yep, sure. So as I said earlier, let's just put the call on hold. I'll put the recording on hold as well. And if you just, go use the bathroom, go grab a coffee, and we'll be back at the top of the hour. So that's in 21 minutes from now. Thanks, Dean.